Big game on Sunday for us, big game on Sunday for you, mate. You've come off the back of a good win, hard-fought win against Leeds United. We have unfortunately come off the back of a 4-1 drubbing against Manchester United.
Saying that though, it was 1-1 till 86 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It is true. But you know, we've let in 3 goals in the last 4 or 5 minutes, and Newcastle fans aren't happy with Bruce's tactics, which is why coming up against another attacking side like you, we're a little bit worried about this weekend. To be fair, the majority of the games that we've played over the last year or so have been quite close. Well, certainly in terms of results, we had a couple of draws. I know we were beaten by you in the Asia Trophy. You give us a 4-0 drubbing. But as of late against you, you know, we've been able to nick a point. What are you expecting from Nuno on Sunday to sidewise against Newcastle? What are you looking to exploit?
Well, an interesting stat, as you mentioned, about the draws. 7 out of the last 10 games in the Premier League between Wolves and Newcastle have actually ended in draws. 6 of them 1-1, and the last 3 1-1. So they've all been tight games. Even that game that we won late on with that really late goal a couple of seasons ago, that was again only 1 goal in it. In terms of Wolves, I mean, the Wolves fans generally, we've had a bit of an iffy start, not really been playing to our full potential. I think the thinking about that is we had a 13-month season getting to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, eventually going down to Sevilla in the quarterfinals. We had around about 19 days off, then the international break, then we've had all the transfers in and out, and then we've had another international break. So Nuno, when you put it into, and we've had obviously some injuries as well, when you put it into context, we've not really had any real time with the whole squad on the training ground. So Wolves, we've been very hot and cold. We started off well for the first 30 minutes against Sheffield United, which surprised us all, which 2-0 up in like 6 minutes, and then we got that when we was expected to beat West Ham, we got absolutely thrashed. We ground out a win against Fulham that were desperate for points, and then Leeds, who are basically the new darlings of the media at the moment. Well, they are, aren't they? I mean, they're all loving with Leeds. It's like, you know, and that's great. But I mean, it's great to have them in the Premier League, but they've got to earn that, I think. When Wolves got promoted, it was like little old Wolves, and only in the second season did we really start to get some real respect for the way we play. Nuno, in the previous 2 seasons, have been setting up primarily 3-5-2. He talked about an evolution, a new cycle. Obviously, Matt Doherty moving to Tottenham. Our wing-backs are so important to us, and he left. He'd been with Wolves for 10 years. I think we were a bit disappointed with the fee, but you can't blame him after 10 years and moving on to a new channel. And then also on the other side, Johnny Otto out with an ACL, long period of time. He's back in recovery, but not expected him. So we lost both the fullbacks, and that was been a real concern because Wolves use the fullbacks very, very well. We have bought in Semedo from Barcelona, but he's only just coming. He's still getting up to speed. He's very tricky, but he's playing in a slightly different formation. Marcel, we bought, who was got to the Champions League final with Lyon, was involved in the victory over Juventus. He's come in, played, looked really well, then got injured. We bought in Hoover from Liverpool, who looks quite good, and we bought in a few other players as well. But the squad that Nuno hasn't really got to grips with. So we've also changed formation as well. I'm not sure if you're aware. He's switched from 3-5-2 to playing 3-4-3. The thinking behind that with Nuno, he wants us to score more goals, and he wants us to control the game more. At the moment, that hasn't really worked. I mean, we in the second half against Manchester City, it clicked, and we should have scored more. We lost, and then in the second half against Leeds, after a very poor first half, shall we say, although they didn't cause us any harms, we've kind of switched it up. And Wolves have also don't tend to start playing till 40 minutes.
Because I was quite surprised, Dave, when I looked at the stats, because obviously we do Wolves are renowned for being quite a very attacking side now, and like you say, you only started to get respect as into that second season when you were in the Premier League. And I was very surprised that you'd only scored 5 goals this season. I was expecting you to have scored more. Obviously, I haven't had a look up until over the last couple of days. What is it that you've been missing attacking wise? Is there anything you have been missing, or things just not clicked as of yet because of everything you've had going on? Because like you say, you haven't had much chance to kind of gel right now.
I think Wolves are. It's a bit of a transition season this year. Obviously, they've still got the aspirations of breaking into that top 6. And Nuno, like we've had a bit of a changing of the guard, especially at the wing backs, who knew their roles inside and out, defensively and offensively. They knew when to go, they knew when to drop. That's caused a little bit of wobble at the back at times where we've got caught out. And I just think it just takes time to change the system and to integrate new players, and that's why we've been inconsistent. As I say, we haven't had a great start to the season in terms of the performances, and we haven't really played consistently in any one game. We've played in bursts, but we're still on 9 points and 6. So not having the best of starts, if we were to beat Newcastle, it will be our best start to a top flight season since 1979 if we were to win. And interestingly, if Newcastle were to beat Wolves, it would be your best start since 2011. I'm a bit of a
absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Because had we beaten Manchester United, I think that every Newcastle fan would have agreed that they really were there for the taking. We'd have been second. And funnily enough, people, including myself, and people that aren't Newcastle fans may not understand or may not agree with it, but we still would have been frustrated with Steve Bruce's tactics. So I guess he feels like he can't win. But who in particular would you say Newcastle need to watch out for on Sunday? What players?
Well, I mean, going forward, I expect that the front 3 will be Daniel Podence, who's coming from Olympiacos. He's small. He's only about 5'5". He's got a really good low centre of gravity, but he's very, very tricky. He's very direct. He's good at providing assists, and he's good at running into the space on the one side. It's debatable whether he'll start Neto, who's basically a mini Jota, because we sold Jota to Liverpool, but he's kind of like coming in that role. He's very direct. He looks running at people as well, and he's got a shot on him. Very tricky. Or whether he starts Traore. Now, the last game, Nuno had the tactic and kind of, I think, figured Leeds out, is that they tend to run out of steam and out of energy, and then with about 30 minutes to go, we brought Traore on, and Wolves basically dominated the second half. But I think he might start Traore with this one being at home. I think he does want us to get goals early. And obviously, Traore's on song. He's unstoppable. You see teams doubling and trebling up on him, and that can nullify him, but it also creates space. And if Wolves can switch the play, but the key player for me is Raul Jimenez. He's the all-round complete striker. He's good in the air. He's good. The goal he scored against Leeds at the weekend, he literally had the ball on his own on the right-hand side, ran past 2, cut inside, headed a shot. It took a deflection off the Leeds player who had one of them little bun things on his head. He scored with his little bun thing on his head, and it took a deflected goal, but he created that out of nothing. He also is really good at holding the ball up and bringing players in. Moutinho and Neves, very, very good in midfield, but they don't tend to link well together in a 2, which is the 4. We've seen Dendoncker. When Dendoncker started with either Moutinho or Neves, we've won all 3 games. When he's not started, we've had a problem. So I think sometimes Moutinho started with Dendoncker on this one. I think you'll see Neves and Dendoncker in the middle. And obviously, if Neves gets an opportunity from outside the box, he has got a shot on him from a free kick, or he can score these wonder goals out of nothing from time to time. So I'd say those are your danger positions.
With regards to obviously Newcastle, is there anything that you're worried about as a Wolves fan? Because I know you mentioned you're not overly confident, which surprised me. I'm not sure whether you've seen us play this season, because I think you would have been...
I saw a bit against United, and I know you got beat 4-1, but basically, I thought you gave United a game, and I thought you were potentially unlucky not to at that game. That could have gone either way. I think when you go 2-1 down, I know you lost the game 4-1, and maybe you went a bit gung ho and they caught you on the counter. That can happen. But I think Newcastle are going to come. I think Steve Bruce will organise the team, and they will try and negate Wolves from playing. I mean, I'm not sure whether Newcastle will come and open up against Wolves, or they will literally try and stop us playing, and then try and get the set pieces and use the armoury that you've got there, or catch us on a break. It'll be interesting to see your opinion on how you think they're going to set up against Wolves. Will they play open, or do you think it'll be quite defensive?
I think personally that I genuinely think we should try and hit you on the front foot. Now I know, as you know, it could be dangerous. We could end up getting a drubbing off the back of that. But I just feel that we've been sitting back so much, and it worked under Rafa Benitez, and it has worked under Steve Bruce as well. But it seems that he's got no plan B at the moment, and the more we're starting to sit back, I think the players are kind of losing focus of what they're actually doing positionally, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you've got teams like you attacking us for 90 minutes or 85 minutes and even at 1-1, I'm not surprised that we've ended up conceding goals, because the players are knackered chasing Marcus Rashford and people like that. And when you've got Adama Traore and Jimenez, Matinho, all those boys trying to run at you for 85 minutes, it's going to be a struggle. So for me personally, I'd want us to go out on the front foot. Do I think he's going to do that? No. I think he's going to play similar tactics he did against Man United, try and nick a goal and then essentially sit back. But I just don't think it will work against you. I think if he does do that, it'll be a similar result, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think Wolves are going to try and get on the front foot in this game as well. So it could be quite an interesting open game if Newcastle go for it. I suspect that Newcastle are going to come and keep it tight. I think your idea of actually going for it might catch Wolves a bit by surprise if they did go for it early doors, because we are suspecting the first half of games, especially early doors. And if Wolves do go behind, we do struggle sometimes. The one thing that I will say, that if we do score first, I think something out of our last 37 games or something, we've only lost one from scoring, taking the lead. We're good at holding a lead. And also, if we go in level at half time, the last 20 matches we've gone level in half time. We've won 8, drawn 11, and only lost 1. Interesting.
So it's not a bad stat, is it?
So going at us and getting a goal actually puts you, I would say, gives you something to defend. And Wolves have sometimes struggled to break teams down, and that's been a bit of an issue over especially the first year in the Premier League. We single-handedly tried to keep Huddersfield up. We lost there. We won 3 matches all season, and 2 were against us. And I do think Wolves will win the game. In the Premier League, anything could happen with the referee, with a sending off, with an incident, with VAR. You just don't know, do you?
Absolutely not. I think the frustration for Newcastle fans has been that we've had so many players being played out of position, and it's not even come down to injuries. It just seems on the face of it that it's just bad tactics. I think we've had Jeff Hendrick, who's a centre midfielder, playing out on the right. Joe Linton, who wasn't doing well at striker, we put him out on the left. He started playing well, so then we started him on the right, and he's not had a very good game. And you just think you've got the likes of Miguel Almiron, who's a very dynamic winger, sat on the bench, so he can play left or right to complement Maximin and Callum Wilson. Then you've got obviously Ryan Fraser as well, and he hasn't been utilised enough. It's just really frustrating. So I think it's got to a point with Newcastle fans where we actually don't know what's
Would you say Callum Wilson is probably your key player at the moment? Because looking at the stats, he's been directly involved in 5 out of the 7 games goals so far, and if he does score against Wolves, apparently he'll be the first Newcastle player to score in 3 successive Premier League away games. Apparently.
Absolutely, that is true, and he 100% has been the catalyst for everything. You know, even when he's not involved, his runs off the ball, he just brings a completely different dynamic in terms of that striking position that we've wanted for the last 10 years. We haven't had anything like that since, you know, Demba Ba's been and Papa Cisse when he was on fire, and we've missed that. So having him in has been a massive help, but in the same breath, we're not helping him enough, if that makes sense. So it's I don't know.
I think as well from Wolves fans and probably a lot of football fans, a lot with Newcastle. It's when you listen to what's going on in Newcastle, half of it you listen to what's going on off the field. What with Ashley and then the takeovers, and it seems like every season there's a takeover that's going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. And obviously there's I think there's a divided opinion on Bruce. You know, and I think he's a big Newcastle fan, isn't he, Bruce? I think himself.
Yeah, he is. He's don't get me wrong. In terms of man management, I think he's fantastic, and I think everyone would agree with that. It just seems that when it comes to the actual tactics on the pitch, there's never a plan B. And I think he's been making a lot of the substitutions that he's made just really do seem to have come far too late when the game's already gone. So it's frustrating.
Reactive instead of proactive.
Exactly that, mate. Exactly
and like
that.
Fans are seeing it, and then you need to do something, and by the time it's a bit. Yeah, I can get that a bit frustration. That hope that someone like a Fosun will come in and take Newcastle, which, let's face it, is a massive, massive club with a massive fan base, to that next level. And I think that's the underlying frustration is the potential that could. If they really backed the manager and invested, the potential, if they got the right owners, is huge with Newcastle.
Absolutely. I think as much as Mike Ashley's done bad for the club at times, he has kept us financially sustainable, which is fantastic, especially, you know, when things like this have gone on. But there is a lot that Newcastle fans won't agree with. However, one thing we can't discredit him for this year, that he has actively been trying to sell the club, to be fair. And we did all think it had gone through with the Saudis and Stavely and the Reuben brothers. And then once it didn't go through, and Stavely come out and talked about the cartel of the Big Six, Newcastle fans were berated because it's all sounded ridiculous. And then this Project Big Six come out, and you score predictions for Sunday.
I've predicted him. I'm just doing my finishing off my previews, so go check that out. But in my preview, we've got some other Wolves fans' predictions as well as a lot of stats and facts on the game. I've been thinking about this, and I'm quite confident. So I'm going 3-0 Wolves. I don't know. I thought we'd beat Leeds. I'm basing that on the fact that we've had a full week. Nunes had a full week with the squad. We're getting Marseille back from injury. And he's had time to work with the team this week, so I expect an improvement and more understanding of the system. And I think we'll be quite offensive from the off. I think we'll go at it the first half. So I'm going 3-0 Wolves. Me personally, I'm going to go 3-1 Wolves. I think we'll nick a goal, but I do think you'll put us under the cosh for the majority of the game, and it could be more. I'd love to get a win, but I just can't see it. I really can't, especially if you're going out the same way. Said the same.
Yeah, that's true.
Wolves, and then they properly tanked us.
Absolutely, absolutely. But Dave, thank you again for coming on. It's been absolutely fantastic. Again, drop your if you just want to reiterate your channel name and your podcast for people to get over to those, and I'll drop them in the description below as well. Yeah,
you just search Dazzling Dave or Dazzling Dave Wolves. There's 2 Dazzling Daves on YouTube. One's a yo-yo player. I'm a Wolves supporter. It's not the yo-yo one.
Brilliant. Thanks again, Dave. Good luck on that Sunday, and I'm sure we'll probably speak after the game, mate.